It's around 7 o'clock on a Monday afternoon, so you know what time it is. It's time for your weekly episode of SCV Chat. I'm your host for Evening Moose, and I'm joined by our executive director, Adam Southern. And before we get started,
I'm smoking
please
a
remember
cigar.
the
I'm
views
not
and
on
opinions
fire.
expressed in this broadcast.
I'm not on fire. I
Adam is
promise.
okay. Adam is okay, everybody. Tagnab. The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast are not necessarily the views and opinions of the SCV, its GEC, nor in Division Brigade, camps, or any other subsidiaries. How's everybody doing in Dixieland tonight? We have the not on fire Adam Southern with us today. We got caught up talking behind the scenes, and me and Adam just kind of looked at each other, and we were just going through the checklist like normal, making sure we had everything ready. Now I look at Adam. I'm like, Adam, it's 7:05.
Nope.
We had
Showtime.
no idea. Yeah, we missed the alert by a good 5 minutes at showtime. Yeah, it always a great Monday when Adam's on.
No, I look forward to this.
I can't wait to hear what Adam's talking about tonight. Oh, so do I. This is one of my favorite nights because I don't have to talk. I can just throw it all on you, Adam.
So,
but it's good to see everybody in the chat. We got the Kennedy twins, our Chief of Heritage Operations, Mr. Ron Kennedy, and our Lieutenant Commander-in-Chief, Walter D. Donnie Kennedy. We have Miss Linda, David, the Lone Ranger, Chuck McMichael, Victor Smith. We're getting the whole crowd here. Make sure you share this out, people. Let's get a good little crowd here tonight for Adam. And let's get this out, people. Again, this is your Hearth and Home episode. You get to figure out what's going on at the museum and at the beautiful Elm Springs.
Absolutely. Now
just so
the
Adam
Southern
doesn't get this
Heritage
question
Center.
tonight, I know we settled this. Yeah. That's what I was about to go into. I didn't want you to get blown up with this question because we've been getting this question a lot, and we talked about it in a post by the Lieutenant Commander-in-Chief, Walter D. Kennedy, that we didn't rename anything. We named the property. So it's still the National Confederate Museum at the Southern Heritage Center and Elm Springs at the Southern Heritage Center. The property did not have a name. At the last GEC meeting, they decided to name it, and I couldn't agree more with the name. I love it. It is a heritage center. It is where our heritage is. It is where it will be protected, and the museum is where the truth is told. And Elm Springs is just where the beauty of our heritage lies, in my opinion. It is a beautiful house. I love it. I have yet to talk to Adam and find a day when he is not busy. I'm going to force Adam one day to give me a private tour of Elm Springs just because I want to hear Adam's point on it. I'm going to get you one day. One day, Adam. But Adam's got a good show. Oh, thank you, brother. Adam's got a great show for y'all planned. There's a lot of items on here that I can't wait to hear him talk about. One I think is beautiful, and I cannot wait to get into it. But without further ado, we can go ahead and hop in and get started, Adam.
That sounds good. And first, I want to give a big shout out to the Missouri Division Sons of Confederate Veterans. I just came back Sunday night from their division reunion. I always have a great time in Missouri hanging out with my compatriots there. They really treat us right, and I always have a good time when I'm there. And they're doing a lot of great work in Missouri, and hopefully I know they're going to continue doing their great work, and I just like seeing the progress of that division each time I go up. They're getting a lot done. They're leading the charge there, as I like to say, and really, I think it's one of my favorite things to do is going out and visiting camps and divisions and seeing what all's being done by the Sons of Confederate Veterans, because we are very active in communities, and we need to start shining the spotlight on what we're doing. We're doing great work. We need to let the world know about it. So one thing that I really liked in Missouri that they do, they have a Friends Award that they give each year to an outstanding friend of the SCV. And that was something I really like to see. They gave it to a very deserving lady this year who's helped with a lot of grave markers. And I came home with some orders from some of the Missouri guys. There's actually here in Murray County, Missouri soldier who was visiting his uncle when the war started. and decided he's just going to join the Confederate Army in Missouri. So he fought the war with them and came back home to Murray County after the war, and he does not have a headstone. So Travis Archie emailed me about that today, and we're going to see what we can do about getting him a stone in place. And that would be a good project. And having camps from different divisions work together, that's going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully we can have some sort of joint ceremony when it's all over with. But again, just wanted to give a shout out to the guys in Missouri and the UDC ladies up there. They're doing amazing work. And again, thank you for the invitation to be there. I had a great time.
That's
but
awesome.
we have yeah.
I hope to get some pictures from y'all.
I have a camp meeting in Mississippi coming up. I'm going to be speaking to the ranking Grays sometime this month. So look forward to going to the Mississippi division and seeing what they're doing down there. And I believe it's GCB's camp, isn't it?
Yep. That is the legendary GCB's, the music of Conroe, the songbird of his generation. Yeah, that's his camp. He'll hopefully be there if he's not getting tangled up in work, sadly.
I know that happens, but
bless his heart. Yeah, it always happens before Conroe. Something always comes up to him these days. David asked, will you be in Knoxville Friday and Saturday?
No, unfortunately, I won't. We've got a lot going on here in Columbia. This is one of our busiest weekends in Columbia. This is Mule Day week. So all the mules will be rolling into town this week. And Saturday, we have a big parade here in town. And I host the Liars contest on Friday night. It's a storytelling competition. So I'm a past grand champion liar. I won the 2009 event. So ever since they've allowed me to MC that event, happy to do it. It's a great fundraiser. This year's raising money for Rose Hill Cemetery and Columbia Central High School. So 2 great causes. So if you're in the Columbia area Friday night at 7:00, come to the Liars contest.
Ooh, sounds fun indeed. I wish I was going to be able to come up this weekend. Man, I always want to go, but I can never go. I always have something going on.
Everybody should do at least one Mule Day once in their life. It's something to see. And Saturday, of course, is the big day, and you'll have over 100,000 people in town on Saturday just to see the parade. And it's a long parade route. Somebody said it's kind of like Mardi Gras, but it's not. Somebody also described it as a Sturgis, but with mules instead of motorcycles. And that's maybe more like it. But it's a unique event and something that has been going on in Columbia, Murray County since the 1800s. So keeping that heritage alive and having a good time doing it.
That's definitely awesome. Man, Adam's lucky, ain't he? Ain't he just an awesome guy? He always comes on and rubs it in that he's getting to go to these great events.
Hey, we got a lot going on at the museum too. We had our GEC meeting the first weekend in March, and when the GEC arrived, so did a lot of goodies. People brought some items to donate to the museum during that meeting, and I think we have some pictures of some of those items, Moose. See what we got coming up first here. Believe it or not, this is about I'd say 8 inches tall. And that is a Jefferson Davis chalice. And that was presented to Commander-in-Chief Lynn Shaw. So that was his Jefferson Davis chalice. And now when you present a chalice, it's a massive thing. But that small silver cup was the size of the Jefferson Davis chalice when it was presented to Commander Shaw. And it's pretty heavy. I would say it's probably if not a heavy plate, but a solid silver cup. So I get really excited about old SCV stuff. I like the chalices, the medals, different things that were put out by the SCV. But you know what I like a lot more than SCV items? UCV items. I love some UCV items. Oh, man. Isn't this beautiful?
Oh, it's amazing.
This was put out the year of the charge, 1906, New Orleans, and enamel flags on it on the gold pen. It just looks beautiful. And this was loaned to our museum by a good friend of ours, our historian and chief Forrest Dawes. So he purchased this before I could. And but he was gracious enough to loan it to our museum, and I'm really looking forward to having this reproduced and selling as a fundraiser for our museum. 1906 and the charge are so important to our organization, and I can't wait to sell that. I think it would be a good keepsake item for people to have. And I don't know who that is on the pen. Is that Stephen D. Lee? Some of our elder statesmen need to speak on this pen and let me know what you think. Is that Stephen D. Lee on the pen?
I wish I could answer it, Adam, but my father didn't trust me enough to hold the pen. He told me to lose it right before we loaned it to y'all. And so I got to look at it in the case, and then he snatched away from me because I told him that I made the joke that whenever y'all make the replicas to sell, I'm going to switch them out so I have the real one. And my father didn't find that joke quite too funny. So much like the sword, I never got to touch it. I got to touch a sword one time, and that's because you were like, "Hey, hold up the sword in this picture," and I was like, "Yes." But I will definitely be the first in line for that fundraiser. That is cool, and it's a part of the UCV history and the SCV history, and it is probably I would just point up say it is the genesis of the SCV, and having that pen is it's cool to see it. Again, I love seeing the UCV and SCV history at the museum.
Yeah. Anybody in the chat have any idea who that is on the pen?
Let's see here. All right, we got the Lone Ranger past Commander Chief Chuck McMahon. That the crescent moon on it is specifically for the New Orleans event, which is awesome. I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. I love all our historians jumping in the chat. Our Chief of Heritage Operations, Mr. Ron Kennedy, said the crescent moon was for New Orleans as well. I don't see anybody talking about the man on the front. I'm going to guess since he was I think they called him Commander-in-Chief as well. I don't want to mess it up, but he was in charge of everything at that point in time, and so that might have been him. Yeah. Let's see here.
I'll see if I can find more information on it. I'm still researching it myself.
Victor says it looks like an older version of Jefferson Davis, which I can see it. When Jefferson Davis, we have these pictures all over Beauvoir, got older. He had a full-on, white beard that I call it the Robert E. Lee beard because I'm just a big Robert E. Lee fan. Poor Jeff Davis. But Kennedy's twins say they think it's R.E. Lee. And my father says it looks like General Forrest to him. So this might be one of the things that we have a debate on in the SCV, which is all good and fun. But my father does say, however, SD Lee does make a lot more sense.
Well, it looks like a bearded man to me. So, of course, could be any number of bearded men out there. So,
the SCV chat unofficial historian Michael C. Hardy has asked us to put it back up there for a minute. Kennedy twins say it could be an older Davis since Jefferson Davis did die in New Orleans, so it would make sense too. Everybody is picking their sides.
Well,
I love this.
That'll be good to report on next Hearth and Home if I do some more. Yeah, maybe Harold Philpott.
Yeah, that might be an ancestor he joined under. How awesome would that be? We'll have to show it to him if he ever can get in. No, the sir is dead. But the son of Harold Philpott, we'll have to show that to him if we can ever get him down to headquarters from Canada. Bless his heart. Mm-hmm. Yep, in the Army engine. Looks like old man Forrest. Everybody is Yeah, all of our heroes, the big Confederate heroes, they all grew this big white beard after the war. It seems like so a lot of them could fit that picture. But I'll let Adam go on to the next bit of news, and
All right,
we
yeah,
can have.
let's see what we have next. This is something else from our historian in chief that he brought up. It was a diary of, I'm not even going to attempt the last name, but he was a German that fought for the Confederate Army for 4 years during the war. And this is a very rare book because they transcribed his original diary, and then they had a limited run of books. And the reason that the books were limited was because they were limited to the number of pages that were in his original journal. And everybody that purchased a copy of the book got a page out of his journal. So I think there's a next picture so there's the original page out of his journal. So not only is that a book that we can use for research, but it also comes with an artifact that we can display in the museum. So I was really excited to receive that item, and it also shows the diversity in the Confederate Army. This is not. This was a German serving in the Confederate Armed Forces. So,
Ron says he actually had a monument up in Poland, which was Prussia at the time when he passed. But that's cool. Thank you, Mr. Ron.
I think I may be mistaken, but I think you're the historian in chief wrote a paper about this man.
Yes. So my father, in an ever quest to always make sure I know that I will not make as good grades as he does in college, wrote a college-like essay on this man, and he bought this artifact for the sole purpose of making sure he had good historical resources for this paper. And yeah, he wrote the paper, and after that, he just felt like y'all could use it better, and so we gave it to y'all.
Yeah. So I'd be interested in reading his paper on that. It sounds like it would be something good for maybe the Confederate veterans sometime too. So,
I believe
go ahead and plant that bug. And this is just a rather nondescript book if you look at the outside of it. But once you open the front flap there, you'll find out that this is a book on the history of slavery in Massachusetts. But could it be? I thought this was just a Southern issue, slavery was. But no, this is the history of slavery in Massachusetts. And then this book was published in, I believe, 1866. This was brought up by the Kennedy twins. They brought up several great items at the last GEC meeting, and this book was one of them. This would make a great display in our museum and when we talk about slavery, because as we all know, this was not just a Southern issue. This was an issue for the whole country. And, they will have you believe otherwise today.
But, oh, you're telling me.
And we'll go on to the next item we have here. More of the items that the Kennedy brothers brought up. This is a book of sheet music called the Dixie Volunteers. And looking at the outside of it, looks like First World War, the Doughboys marching there. So, a cool piece. And the next item that we have, I think, are patches that are from the Dixie Division.
Ooh.
So they, if you get to their section in the timeline that they wrote, they referenced the Dixie Division patches. So it's going to be good to have some original patches put on display. You can read about them and then see what they look like.
Awesome. I love that.
And of course, this is actually the first one our museum had. This is a Stone Mountain $50, which I know several of you probably have one. I have one that I keep as a dear keepsake. But the Kennedy twins brought that one up, and just a great item to have, because in the scheme of things, you're talking about the U.S. government putting out currency with Confederate generals on it, and now we're changing names of bases of Confederate generals. I mean, I'm not going to preach to the choir here or get up on my soapbox, but it's just not It's not rational. I mean, we're coming from putting these men on stamps, putting these men's likenesses on coins, and now we're changing bases because their names hurt people's feelings. Um, so, well, there you go. That would be a good example of something that we can put in our museum.
Real quick, I'm gonna jump back a second. One of the Kennedy twins mentioned that the top one, top patch is from World War II, and the bottom one, World War One.
Correct. Yes, sir.
All right, this last item that you have ready for me,
Uh-huh.
I'm interested in it. I'm just gonna go ahead and pop this one up here.
Okay. What I'm showing here is the sword. Uh, this is a Confederate-made sword. Uh, came from a gentleman in Texas who described it as a Dog River sword. Of course, everything's Dog River, but it has a replacement grip on it. The leather has been done on the grip, but the brass and, of course, the blade itself, that's all original. Beautiful piece. And I've had several people look at it. It is authentic, and might even have a match for it in a book of Confederate swords. So it may be a published sword. But we had a member from Texas donate that to us, and just a beautiful item that gives an example of what a Confederate sword looked like.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Ooh. See, I'm just gazing at the comments. See here. David, are you okay with me putting your comment on the screen? It's about Dr. Freeman. If there was a Chuck. Chuck, I'm not gonna put that on screen. You're gonna get me in trouble when I'm have to deal with Facebook and YouTube this week. All right, so David Pope has a suggestion. Dr. Freeman, who is, of course, a well-known SCV member historian, wrote 4 volumes on Lee, 3 on the Army of Northern Virginia, and 7 on Washington, and won 2 Nobel Prizes about Southern history. He was definitely one of our biggest historians in the early 20th century. For sure, he was a son, if I'm not mistaken, of a Confederate veteran. But he has a suggestion. And yes, I would like to see that one day. For sure, the museum is always going to be ever evolving. That's the awesomeness, in my opinion, about a museum, and especially a museum like ours, is that it will always be ever evolving because there's so much story to tell. And that's what I love about it. That's what I love about history. But I think this is more of a question for Adam.
Yeah, I would love to see an exhibit on him. The problem is, I would love to see some artifacts that belong. Now, we have copies of his books, but we would need artifacts to go along with it, and definitely some. I know David, knows a lot about him, so we would need somebody that knows about him to write the history to go along with the artifacts. So, if you come across some artifacts and are able to snag them, shoot, yeah, we would love to have a great exhibit on Dr. Freeman, because
Yes,
he
be
really
awesome.
was one of our best historians.
Oh, definitely. I admire his work ethic. That man was crazy. He got up at 2:30 in the morning to start work. But David points out that his father, Walker Freeman, was a commander of the UCV. So that's a cool fact. I know we probably have his name up there. We do have, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Adam, please correct me if I am, that we have a list and pictures of all the UCV commanders. So we probably already have his picture up.
Yeah. If he was one of the national commanders, he's probably pictured already. Well, yes, I know we do have the set of Lee's lieutenants, and I don't know that we have the Washington biographies, but that would be something that we do need to have, since we do encompass everything from early Southern history to Reconstruction and beyond.
Yeah, and I like the ideas we're getting in the chat. Our unofficial SCV chat historian, that's what I'm going to keep calling him. Michael C. Hardy asked Adam, could you do a rotating exhibit on various SCV historians from the past? Uh, the historian in chief thinks it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Just messing with my father there. But yeah, no, I think it'd be a great idea. But again, this is a question up to Adam.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely got the space, and we do need rotating exhibits. It's just finding what is out there. It's a lot of, for a real good exhibit, you need items. I like to see items when I go to a museum, not just read. Of course, the text and the timeline are very important to our museum. I'm not saying that they're not, but you have to have items to go along with that timeline. So it would just be what you can find from these historians other than their books. Find somebody's typewriter. I know we have maybe a possibility of getting one of General McCain's typewriters for the museum. And I think that would be an amazing item because man really resurrected our organization and brought it back to life when he became our adjutant in chief. So, and talk about historians, he was one of our early SCV historians. Institutional history, there could be no one that knew more than him.
Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully you'll have some more information about him in the near future.
I'm hoping so. If a young college student that I know would get to work on that.
Okay, Adam. Call me out.
I didn't say any names.
You made the suggestion. But yeah, I'll have to come up there and get some more work done on that. But David said that General McCain signed in the modern Knoxville chapters and spoke at their chaptering ceremony. One of the last things General McCain did, and it's something I can brag about, is he signed off on my camp getting resurrected back in 1993 before his passing. So that's something I can brag about. Let's see here. What a coincidence on the typewriter. Jack, I think, said he was writing the newsletter right now, and we're talking about typewriters. But while we're at a little breaking point, I'm going to talk about one of our sponsors, and then we're going to let Adam get back into everything. And of course, our first sponsor for the evening is the Kennedy Twins, speaking of which we talked about them a bit earlier in tonight's show. The Kennedy Twins' new book, Jefferson Davis, The High Road to Emancipation and Constitutional Government. So Jefferson Davis, High Road to Emancipation and Constitutional Government is about how Jefferson Davis was a leader for the high road to emancipation. He looked for a day of which slaves would be able to participate and live in society. He did more than advocate for the high road to emancipation, though. He practiced his beliefs in the ultimate emancipation of Southern slaves. Many of his former slaves left for prosperity, and their testimony about their former master who prepared them to be a self-sustaining member of society. You can get Jefferson Davis and the High Road to Emancipation and Constitutional Government. Follow the link in the chat to www.kennedytwins.com and their own most online bookstores. I want to thank the Kennedy Twins for sponsoring this little break for us. We're going to hit a quick commercial break. The one I always play when Adam is on because it's of Adam, and he can't do anything about it after I start playing it. And we'll get back, and Adam will talk about things, maybe answer a couple questions. I think I saw a couple questions in the chat I'll try to have saved for Adam. But we'll be right back after this commercial break.
I've always been proud of my Confederate ancestry, but I never pursued becoming a member of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. It all changed in 2017 when I saw New Orleans take down their Confederate statues. Those monuments come down really lit a fire inside of me, and came to the conclusion I needed to join the Sons of Confederate Veterans. It's a domino effect. we give in on this, it's just a matter of time before they start taking down Thomas Jefferson and George Washington. We need to draw the line in the sand right now. These are our Confederate monuments. These are our Southern heroes, and you're not going to take them down. Our museum is going to be funded 100% by the Sons of Confederate Veterans. The history, the narrative that we present will be the narrative that we write. So it will be our story, our museum. Right now, if we do not protect our heritage and present it as it truly was, it's going to be lost forever. We're going to tell the true story here. I'm Adam Southern, and I'm a proud descendant of Private Alfred D. Southern, a Confederate veteran.
Always love that one, and I always love playing it when Adam's on for multiple reasons, just to pick with Adam a bit. But the real reason why I love seeing that one is because you get to see how far our museum has come. Our museum in the past 3 to 4 administrations has made leaps and bounds in this, in how it was built, construction, getting the exhibits out. It has made a beautiful transition to the point where if you looked at it 2 years ago, you wouldn't recognize it. And I guarantee you in 2 years, you won't be able to recognize it again. And that's what I love about our museum. And remember, this Pop-Tart Break show in the museum is sponsored by the Kennedy Twins' most recent book, Jefferson Davis, The High Road to Emancipation and Constitutional Government, available at www.kennedy-twins.com and most online bookstores. So I want to thank them. Trying to go through here for some of the crowd. Answer your question, John. Most of McCain's stuff is at the University of Southern Miss, which he was their president for many, many, many years. That's where I've gone to get most of my research. Next question is from Kim. We put it up on the screen. I just took it off the screen. She said that, hi, Adam. Jason Boshiers, our commander-in-chief, suggested that various compatriots come up to the museum to make presentations on subject that they are well versed in. She has said, I've tried to come up to volunteer to present on the two. Ooh, give me a minute here.
About the torpedo service. Yeah, I know Kim. Kim has actually made a model of the torpedo that we have in our museum right now. So it's in the naval section of the museum. And as soon as we're able to start getting groups of people there, it's going to take some advertising. So we've got something coming up. Let's see, May is the pilgrimage, and we're going to have a speaker there. And we're going to see how that goes. But then just trying a standalone speaker, we're going to try that again sometime in May and see how that goes. And if they're successful, we'll start having people travel here. But I'd hate for somebody to come from Florida and speak to 2 people. You know how that goes. And events here in Columbia are either hit or miss. You're either going to have 100 people or you're going to have just a handful. So, as I said, we're probably just going to start locally and branch out from there. Try to find people with Tennessee talent, and then as the series goes on with speakers, broaden our speaker base. If that makes any sense, just kind of start small, and if they're successful, we'll keep them going and have people from other areas, because this just isn't the Tennessee Museum. I understand that. So we do need people to speak about different areas of the war and different areas of the Confederacy. So, but we'll see how it goes. And Kim, we got your contact information. We'll be in touch with you.
All right, good. I don't see any more questions right now, and I believe you want to talk about some of the great events we do have coming on at our museum property soon.
Yeah, of course, we're open one Saturday a month now. So our next open Saturday is April 15th. So we'll be there open for tours. Come tour the museum, and if we're able, we'll have house tours. It just depends on if we're able to have volunteers there to keep the house open or not. But definitely, I know there's a lot going on in Columbia that day. There'll be a Confederate memorial service at Rose Hill Cemetery on April 15th. So you can go do that. And my lovely wife is going to be the speaker at that memorial service. So you can go hear Kayla talk at the cemetery and then come and tour the museum. Um, and again, that's April 15th. The pilgrimage is coming up. That's May 6th. So I hope everybody has that on their calendars. This is something that started, I believe it started under Larry McClooney's administration when he was commander in chief.
Yes. Yeah,
And,
you're right.
And this will be our third year having this event. So, first year we had it at the Jefferson Davis Monument. Second year we had it was at the graves of General and Mrs. Forrest. And this year we'll be having the event at the new Robert E. Lee statue. All the speakers will be concentrated in that area, and that's where we'll lay the memorials. Also on May 6th, we have a Derby party. We're going to be having a Kentucky Derby party at Elm Springs, and hopefully we'll be able to show the race live and just have refreshments, and that will be a ticketed event. So if you'd like tickets for that, we'll post that information in the coming weeks, how much tickets will be and how you can get your tickets. But it will start at 5 p.m. The race usually starts at about 5:45. So there'll be refreshments and all kinds of good things to eat. We'll get to see the race and then have just a good time with everybody. Mother's Day coming up on May 14th. We're going to have a Mother's Day tea at the house. So if you'd like to bring your mother, have something fun to do with her while you celebrate Mother's Day, come see us at Elm Springs, and we'll have a Mother's Day tea. Then on June 17th, another of the dessert parties coming up. So, and this is always my favorite one because you have all the good summer desserts. So in addition to all the cakes and good stuff that they usually have, they'll have maybe some homemade ice cream too. And that's when Miss Kayla makes her honeysuckle ice cream. And it only comes around one time a year, so don't want to miss this.
Getting my pen out, writing it on my schedule.
And of course, that's the same weekend as the Forest Boyhood Home event, and that's over in Chapel Hill at the Boyhood Home. So the homecoming, I guess you call it, which is a big event. You know, several people come speak each year, and they have vendors and cavalry and artillery demonstrations. That's just a fun time. It's a good way to support the Boyhood Home and the Tennessee Division. So. Are there any more questions in the chat?
We got a couple. We got one from Past Commander in Chief Chuck and Michael. Let me scroll back up here. I got them saved. All right, Chuck says, have you had a chance to think about where you would like to display the UCV 1936 reunion items?
And we haven't even touched that. That's something that we'll talk about next Hearth and Home episode. We had a big presentation from the Louisiana boys. They had a full time capsule that they presented to the museum that was just full of goodies. And I'm talking 1936 Confederate flag put in there. Looks like it was brand new. Came out of that box. Just if you were there for that meeting, you saw everything as they presented to us. They newspaper clippings, just everything. Just a time capsule from 1936. And everything that you would think would be in there was in there, and it was amazing to see. And yes, we do have a cabinet that I think I'm going to dedicate just for that time capsule, and it's just trying to figure out how we're going to display the flags right now. Other than I don't want to fold them because they need to be spread out and displayed. So, but yes, that will be something we'll discuss on our next Hearth and Home episode.
Ooh, I'm already anxious. I cannot wait. Jack has a question about Elm Springs, and I'll explain it. So he asked if is it set up. Jack's in the Mississippi Division with me. He's asked is it set up like Beauvoir, which means it has a authentic, just like if you were living in 1860, you walked in there, that's how it would look. Or is it more has just Confederate memorabilia, just random stuff from the Confederacy? I think that's what
Sure.
his question was.
Okay. In the past, I would say it would have been more just random Confederate memorabilia in the house because we didn't have the museum. Now all of that's more in the museum, and we're taking Elm Springs just back to an antebellum mansion. We want it to look like you walked into a house in the 1850s, and that's you'd expect to see somebody walking down the steps in a hoop skirt. So we just want it to look like somebody's been living in the house, and I think we're doing fairly well right now doing that. We are reappointing the furniture and fixtures in the home. We're doing a lot of cosmetic work, and we did have a setback because the man who was really in charge of doing our restoration work at the house passed away, unfortunately. So we're trying to find a new builder locally that can do work for us. And yeah, so we've got an Elm Springs fund that we use for renovation and restoration projects. And we're at the point where we can do a little bit more work. And the next phase will be the entry hall. So as you're coming in the front door, that's the part we're going to be working on. And we do have descriptions of the house that are from the family, and that they describe the house, which house was built in 1835, finished in 1837. It stayed in the same family for 3 generations before it was sold out of the family, and remained a private residence until 1992 when the Sons Confederate Veterans purchased the property. So it has a long history of people living in the house, but we're trying to focus on that 1837 period to the 1850s, kind of in that Todd Looney era of the home. But the descriptions that we have is that the entry hall used to have a floor cloth, which was, of course, hand painted. It was almost like an old canvas, early linoleum, basically. That's what they would have had in the entry hall. And the side lights and transoms were painted to match the floor cloth, which floor cloth today, if we were to reproduce that, that would be our entire budget pretty much. They're rather expensive to duplicate. So that's something that we're going to put off on the back burner until, we're able to do something like that. The doors would have been originally faux feathered doors. To duplicate that today is $600 a side. So $1,200 a door if you're wanting to do that. So that's one of those projects we're going to put off. We're just going to paint it. So these things can be rather expensive, which painting doors is period correct as well, as is stained doors. But you're really showing off your wealth if you were faux feather or faux graining your doors, because you would take a typical oak door and try to make it look like it was mahogany, and which actually you're spending more than if you just had a mahogany door back then. But just one of those ways people showed off their wealth. And most of the time when you go to these marvelous homes, your public rooms, your entry hall, your parlors, your dining room, all those areas would be wallpapered. Elm Springs currently is not wallpapered in the entry hall, so we've selected a period wallpaper to put up in the entry hall. We have to take out the closets that were added in the 1950s, which I'm really excited about this, though, because when we take that closet down, I already know that there's some original wallpaper behind that closet because I've been picking at it. And this is about 1930s period wallpaper that I'm seeing. So I'm hoping that underneath that 30s might be some 1850s wallpaper that I can find. And we might be able to find that original, see what it looks like. Because right now we can only guess.
So. Yeah, that's awesome.
But it's just like eating an elephant, one bite at a time. So we're just going to keep trucking along, doing one room at a time as we get the money to do that, and donations come in. And as I said, we've done my old office, which was the plantation office or study, and we've done the dining room. We did the old kitchen that was once the gift shop. So now it's time to do the entry hall. Mm-hmm. So, and I hope we can get that done sometime this year.
I'm just throwing this up there to answer a question. Someone asked, the Elm Springs used to be the general headquarters of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. Like our offices were in the building, and just like Adam said, the kitchen was the gift shop. So yeah, Chuck said, our past commander in chief, one of the reasons for the new offices and museum was to restore the house to its original being, and they have done a fantastic job doing it. Adam and everybody up there has just really, because I think I got to walk in it right before y'all really started, if I'm not mistaken. I think I got to walk in there. I have yet to have a tour, and I'm going to keep messing with Adam about that. But I walked in there right before they started everything. And just to see what they have done since then and continuing to make that building, that property, that part of our property even better every time I come up there, it's truly amazing. Elm Springs is absolutely beautiful and breathtaking. If you have not seen it, if you've not had a tour, I'd recommend you go up there and do it.
You need to come see us. Yeah. And that's one of my things when I became director. I wanted to see Elm Springs be more of a tourist destination. And with that, also the museum become part of a tourist destination where people were coming to our property. You've got two things to do when you're there. Go see the house, go see the museum. You might have people that don't care about the museum, but they would love to see the house. And you might have people that would love to see the museum. They don't care about the old house. So we've got really something for everybody there. So the wives can go see the house and the husbands can go see the museum. So it works out perfectly. And I want to make sure that the house pays for itself. And in that, SCV money is not used to really do the work that we're doing. All the work that we're doing, the wallpaper, the restoration work, all that's coming from donations. It's not coming from your dues. So I think that was very important to me, that I want the house to sustain the house. I don't want people to say, well, why are we using money on the house when we can use it on the museum? We're not. All the money that we're using on Elm Springs has been donated specifically towards Elm Springs and its restoration. So, and of course, we need money for the house. We need money for the museum. So if you'd like to donate, we're all the time taking donations. And it doesn't have to be money. If you have items you'd like to donate, you can donate items. And in the same regard, you can donate furniture or other antiques to Elm Springs, because we're all the time looking to add new things to our collection. We were gifted an antique rocking chair when we went to Missouri. Lanny and Gina Dixon purchased an old folding rocking chair at an auction, and we'll be putting that in the ladies' parlor of the house. So we appreciate the Dixons donating that to us. And it's amazing. Every time I go somewhere, I bring home things for the museum or Elm Springs. Our SCV members are very generous, and they like to give us things. So we really appreciate all that they do for us.
And that is awesome too, just about the rocking chair. We do have a question from Zach. Zach asked, do y'all keep a record of how many members visit from each state? From my knowledge, I know I might be one of the few who made one of the California members who made a trip. I'm still riding off the wave of excitement a week later.
Well, that's a good question. We do have a register that we ask people to sign in while they are there, and I do go from time to time to see where everybody's from, and it's amazing to see the number of Californians or people who have come from the Northeast or even out of country. We've had a few Germans and Scottish folks come through recently, so I thought that was special. But yeah, we don't see many of our California members, but I'm glad to see you, Zach. I hope you had a good time at the museum, and I hope you'll come back and see us.
All right. I don't know if you can answer this one. We might have to come back to this one. This one's from John. John asked, just how's the fundraising going for the Forest Plaza and statue reconstruction?
Yeah, we are just over 70,000 right now, and we need about 170,000. So I think estimates have been anywhere in the ballpark of 150 to 175,000 to reconstruct that plaza. So we have raised about we had probably $60,000 left from when we raised money for the Forest funeral, and we've added maybe 12,000 to it. So I say we're about $72,000 how much we've raised so far. 72, 75, somewhere in that ballpark. Without looking at it, I can't tell you for sure, but that's the ballpark figure. So we still have ways to go, and you can make donations online by going to our donations tab, and we're calling this Forest Last Ride. So this will be the last ride for the equestrian statue. Once it's on top of the graves, that's it. So Forest Last Ride. And thank you most for putting up the link, and you can see the different funds that you can donate to. Of course, Heritage Defense is a big one. We've got a lot of lawsuits probably looming in our future, but right now we're in one with Arlington and the federal government trying to save the Reconciliation Monument there in Arlington National Cemetery. So that Heritage Defense Fund is very important. Also, the Elm Springs Fund and any fund that the SCV has is on this PayPal donations. Confederate Legion. I hate to start listing them because I'll miss one, but just go to that donations tab and you'll see what all you can donate to and to help the SCV.
And John wanted to point out that, Camp 1321 is raising funds and hoping to present y'all with a check this summer. And I'm guessing
that's amazing,
this
brother.
Forrest's last ride.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And again, link is in the chat if you want to check out the donations page for the SCV. Clay says a statement that if every SCV member donated $10, we could get the Forest statue done. And I believe that is right. That's true. Yes. I'm not a mathematician.
I got to take my shoes off.
No,
we go over 10.
I think there is a challenge going on.
Yeah.
We go over $10.
Yeah, we have to go over 10. We got 10 here. I have to go take my shoes off and count my toes.
That just clicked for me. That was such a light bulb moment.
No, you're from Mississippi. It's okay.
And that's going to become a. We're slow down here. Give us a minute. That's going to be on the gag reel now, Dick.
But yeah, there's a couple of fundraising initiatives that I know are coming up. They'll be announced at reunion, especially in terms of museum funding. But I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't something for the Forest Fund as well. I would love to see that go up sooner rather than later, because the more we wait, the more the price generally seems to go up. So would love to see that happen. The funeral was a very solemn and dignified event, but I imagine this is going to be more of a celebration for us once that statue goes up and we unveil that plaza. And that's going to be a big win for us.
I'll go ahead and say it that it was probably one of the greatest blessings of my life to be at Forrest's funeral and to participate in it. And let me clear it up. You will not regret donating to this, because again, you get a chance to be part of another historic event. The reinterment was respecting, making sure that General Forrest was put down with the respect the way he deserves. And now that the statue, the plaza going back up, is the time to celebrate his life. The funeral was all about making sure he was respected, put down with respect because of all the disrespect going on to our Confederate veterans these days. It was making sure that one of the Confederacy's greatest generals got the respect and honor of a final resting place. The plaza, of course, is about honoring the man and celebrating his life and everything he accomplished for us and everything he set as an example for us and just the history that he helped and heritage he helped protect and prosper. So I would ask everybody to please donate. I hope SCV Chat and myself personally can donate. I remember breaking the bank last time, making a mistake and donating all the money that my father gave me for food when I was up in Oxford, donating it all to y'all. So I'm hoping I get to do the chance of that soon, and hopefully SCV Chat will start something soon. I have something in the works, and hopefully we can help y'all out a little bit. But
I hope so. And of course, every little bit helps.
Mm-hmm. And David says the Forrest reinterment is the reason why he rejoined the SCV.
Good.
David, we are happy to have you.
Glad to have you back.
Let's see here. So this is something I like from John. He said he drove down from Detroit to be at the reburial, and he plans to be there at the plaza rededication. That his ancestor served under Forrest, so he came to represent his ancestor in honoring the general. And that is, wow, I don't think I could put it any better myself.
Right.
My family loves General Forrest. If you can't tell by my father's first name, we love General Forrest in my family. So he will always be important to us. And just like our commander-in-chief said, and Adam said, our executive director, no amount is too small. And we appreciate everybody who donates. So if you can, please donate to this cause. It is a very just cause. It's about celebrating General Forrest's life and making sure he has a honored and respected place. So I can't wait to see it go up. I will definitely be there, spending all my money like I did absolutely last time and being broke for 2 or 3 months afterwards. But Adam, do you have anything else you want to talk about? Any more events or anything?
No, I think we covered all of our events. We still have a few things scheduled for July and later, but we'll talk about those closer to time. Just remind everybody you can be a friend of the museum, a friend of Elm Springs. And if you can't find an Confederate ancestor, you can be a friend of the SCV. That is an untapped thing in our organization that you pay for a membership, you're a friend, you just don't have voting rights within the SCV, but you get everything else that goes along with it. And if you become a friend of a camp, you're able to go to their meetings and participate with them. And I hope more people will take advantage of that in the future. The Friends of the SCV, and that link is under the Forms and Documents tab on our website if you have people that would like to join. But of course, always look for an ancestor first, because we do have good people that serve on the genealogy committee, and I think they got hound dog in them, because they can find you an ancestor where other people cannot. They are very good at genealogy. They've been doing it for years, and I think you ought to, if you're interested in joining, submit your name to the genealogy committee. And if they can't find anything, there's always Friends of the SCV. So that's a way that you can help out. What's that?
I said link for that is in the chat.
Awesome. Way to go. That Moose is something else, y'all. He needs a raise.
If I was getting paid, I'm paying SCV Chat at this rate.
You're paying to be here.
I'm paying to be here at this rate. Army of Tennessee Councilman Carl Jones makes a great point. You can join to be a friend while you wait on searching for your ancestor, because for some people, it can be challenging. I know it took my father a while to find an ancestor. And for example, for me, it didn't take any while because I just joined under the ancestor my father did. And so it is very important. If you can't find one, join as a friend. Be a friend, and then that gets you in the meetings. That gets you there. That gets you involved, and then you can become a full member, and that gets you even more involved in things and things. See here, we got a couple, I think, more. Adam, let's see here. Yeah, there. Past Commander Chuck McMichael brought there are 2 Confederate veterans buried at Elm Springs, which is just awesome.
We now have General Forrest, and then we also have the sailor off the CSS Alabama, Simeon Cummins. So 2 Confederate veterans on our grounds.
That is just awesome. I remember when I first figured out about him, and I think it was actually at the reinterment, or maybe it was at the pilgrimage the first year. And I might have asked you, Adam. I think I was like, who's that over there? I had no idea. But it was so cool to learn about that and see that we have 2 Confederate veterans we honor on the property.
And of course, Elm Springs was the home of Colonel Looney, who was in the Confederate Army. He was actually the first major of Company H that Sam Watkins writes about. But for some reason, he wasn't buried in the family cemetery. He wanted to be in Rose Hill Cemetery near his soldiers, I think. I think that was the reasoning behind it. But his wife was buried in the family cemetery.
That's cool. I didn't know about that last part. It just processed what you said. And so I went to the comment and I was like, oh, yeah, I had no idea. Chief of Heritage Operations, Ron Kennedy says, again, don't be, not being a small camp myself, I understand why he's saying this comment. He's saying that nothing is too small, and just because you're a small camp, don't think you guys can't do anything. The Nathan Bedford Forest Camp, 1931, raised $1,000 for the plaza. And again, what he's trying to say there is just because you're a small camp, don't think you guys can't do anything. I know that my camp, we're a small camp, but we do a lot, and we're very proud of what we do.
Yeah.
And so
one thing that Camp 29 is doing, which is my home camp, we have a couple cigar boxes that we put out at each meeting. One cigar box is for the acquisitions fund for the museum. The other is for Forest Last Ride. The other is for the museum fund. So we just set the boxes out and let members contribute at each meeting to whichever fund they want to donate. And then at the end of the year, our adjutant will write them a big check, or write the museum a big check from all the funds that have been donated to during the year.
Whew. All right. Sorry, I'm just going through the comments. We got a lot of people in the chat tonight. That's awesome. Good to see y'all. Kennedy twins, which I'm going to guess is our lieutenant commander in chief, under the Facebook page, our YouTube page, said if 5,000 SCV members, which would be, I'm not even going to do that percentage in my head, we'll be here all night, but would donate $5 per month via PayPal or credit card, we could do a lot of great things. He makes a great point there. If 5,000 members donated $5 per month, that would be what, 25,000?
25,000.
Yeah. All right. And that's $25,000 we could put to a lot of good use. And I agree with that. I try my best to give about $10 a month to Beauvoir, and I still pay my dues for my division, even though I'm a life member. I hope to be able to pay my national dues this year, even though I'm a life member this year. And it's just because of how much I care about the cause. And you don't have to give money. You can do other things. You can volunteer. Anything you can do. The only thing we ask is just let's do something, people. Let's get something done. Let's see here. Alan says he wanted to let you know that he learned so much from you, and you make learning fun, Adam.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on, Adam. All right, let's see here. So many ways you can contribute and honor going to our commander-in-chief now, and I couldn't agree more. There's so many things you can do in this organization, so many ways you can contribute. Just figure out what's close to your heart and let's go after it. Linda says, if you are not a son or a male descendant, join as a friend to support your husband's camp, or just to support an SCV camp in your area. If you don't have a husband or a boyfriend, you can still join and be a friend and get involved in the fight. We love to have any help we can get. So yeah, be a friend. It doesn't you don't have to be a male descendant to be a friend of the SCV. Let's see here. Casey said he used to be a friend of the SCV. It was fantastic, and he was even more excited when he was able to become a full member, and now he's a life member. He absolutely loves being a member of the SCV. Well, we're happy to have you, Casey.
Yeah, thank you, compatriot.
Our Lieutenant Commander-in-Chief points out that how many other properties have a Confederate naval veteran buried on their property, and I don't think I can think of one. Yep. Let's see here. Jack says he's a proud member of the little camp that could. And again, that's the good thing. Just because you're a small camp, don't let that phase you. Again, my camp's pretty small, but we always try to find ways we can do something. There's always something you can do. Let's see here. Our Commander-in-Chief said a big push is going to happen on at the National Reunion, with the Commander-in-Chief award being given on several different levels. Interesting.
This was something that was discussed at the last GC meeting, and I know more information will be put out about it as we get closer to reunion, but they're going to, most of the time when you do things like this, it's always the biggest camp wins or something like that. But the way they're going to factor this, it's going to give everybody a shot at winning an award. And I think this is going to be a great way to inspire a lot of competition between our camps. And it's going to give every camp a chance to win. And it's all going to benefit our museum. And I think this is a great way. Because if you can get the guys fired up about something, there's nothing that we can't do. It's just keeping people inspired and keeping them fired up about the cause. And competition is always a good way to kindle that fire.
Miss Linda and our Commander-in-Chief says, clear those Yankees out of your wallet. Nickels, $5 bills, and a $50 bills. Give them to the museum. Jason Boshier says, donate a Lincoln a month and let Abe pay for it.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, I kind of like those grants myself, but Lincoln's, if you do a penny drive, do a $5 bill drive, do a $50 bill drive. When I first became directors, we did a let the Yanks pay for us. And, let's let them pay for it. $5 bills and $50 bills. Let's go.
See here. Yeah, no, speak like my church, when I was in Oxford, the church organization I was working with, Baptist Student Union, we did penny fundraisers all the time. And I know Adam would really love a $50 grant fundraiser, but even if you just do a penny fundraiser, and what it was is, I think it was every time you put a penny in, you gained a point, and you had two sides fighting each other. And it was usually boys versus girls, and you throw a penny in and you throw like a nickel or a dime in to subtract points from the other team. So those are some good fundraiser ideas. And again, my church, we raised a whole lot of money, enough for us to fund missionary trips. So again, there's always some ideas on fundraising, and a penny doesn't cost too much. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've thrown a penny in with a couple of bills I've donated to a museum. I've done it to poor Elm Springs a lot of times. So if you ever find a penny in there, it's probably from me. And it's just because I don't like loose change. So I'll grab anything I have and I'll throw it in there. And again, so many ways you can do a fundraiser. And so hopefully that gives you guys some ideas.
Pennies make dollars.
think you need a penny machine for the museum, says.
I would love to have a penny machine. I've actually looked into those. They're kind of high, but I'm thinking that they would pay for themselves because, who would not like to have a penny that has Elm Springs on it, or a penny cranked out to a model of Elm Springs? I'd pay 50 cents to do that.
Oh, in a heartbeat. Let's see here. If I don't see any other questions, Adam, do you have anything you want to say about the museum, Elm Springs, or any events y'all are having?
Just come see us. We'd love to see you at the museum, and once we get our debt paid on the museum, which all of the fundraising that we're talking about is going to pay off our museum debt. Once we're able to do that, we can have staff to be open on weekends. So right now it's just one Saturday a month, but we're doing the best that we can, really. And I know people would love to come see us on the weekends, but until that debt's managed, we're not able to hire new people. So being able to pay off our museum debt will allow us to do other things, buy artifacts, hire new staff. But yeah, just come see us in the meantime. We'd love to see you. The museum's great. It's changing. New items coming in every day, and Elm Springs is changing a lot too. Haven't talked about this in a long time, but I have these Hearth and Home challenge coins. It says Hearth and Home SCV on one side, and then it has Elm Springs on the other side. These are we don't have a Hearth and Home award, but I give these to people that do things special at Elm Springs, people that have helped out our organization throughout the years. But if you would just like to have one of these, you can purchase these through our shop. I believe they're $10 or $15. All that goes to support the house. So if you would like a Hearth and Home coin, go to our shop and start shopping, spending that money with us.
Please do. And anytime you guys can go up there, I recommend going in the gift shop first. And I think you have to get tickets for the museum in Elm Springs. But go up there, help them out with volunteering. Go up there just to enjoy yourself at the museum. Because, again, you could spend the whole day in the museum, and I guarantee you won't get all the information. It has so much great information about our Southern history in there, not just from the time of 1861 to 1865. It has the South's history as a whole there. We tell our story as a heritage, as a culture, and it is absolutely amazing. Before I forget, we do have an idea from our historian-in-chief, Forrest S. Dawes. He asks, could people, camps, divisions look into donating a penny machine?
Yep. Well, there are different price options that we can go with. So if you're interested in sponsoring one, I can let you know how much it is. So just get with me, and love to see one there at Elm Springs. It'll be a great fundraiser, and also gives you a keepsake to take with you. And next, Hearth and Home, we got to talk about the Shreveport Times capsule. And we need to talk about our gift shop, because gift shop has really changed a lot. If you haven't been to the SCV in a while, we have a new sales manager. She's brought in a lot of cool stuff to the store. So those are two things that we'll talk about next month. But I hope in the meantime you'll come see us. Anything else, Moose?
I'm going to attack my father, Jason Boshears. Our commander-in-chief has made this little joke that he has a lot of his lieutenant commander-in-chief challenge coins for sale. And that's great. Please donate the extras to the museum and let them have the proceeds. But here's my only gripe about that, Jason. Commander, you promised me that I would get one of you lieutenant commander-in-chief challenge coins, and I've yet to get one. Oh. And I'm a little hurt. I'm going to be honest. I am just a smidge. It hurts. I feel like I've done a good bit of work for you. No, but I'm just going to mess with our commander there. But that is a great idea. I hope to see him up there. I would have to buy one, considering Jason I guess I'm not a good aide de camp. Jason doesn't give me his lieutenant commander-in-chief challenge coins. I don't think I've gotten your commander-in-chief challenge coin yet, to be honest with you.
He
I don't
just
know.
got those. And in his defense, he just got those.
Okay. Our commander-in-chief said that for me it's $10, and if it's $10 for the museum or Elm Springs, it's definitely worth every penny. So I'd be happy to do that. Oh, my father's joining in on this now. It's just Bully Moose Night again. He says, Commander, he has seen your CIC challenge coins, but however, he hasn't touched one. Oh, yes, time out. My father has your Lieutenant Commander in Chief challenge coin, but I don't. Please note, I served you before he did. So in seniority for time spent, I have been here serving you longer than my father, technically. I know he has a much higher position than me, but technically I am right. Our unofficial SCV chat historian says he has one. I guess everybody has one but me. Does it? Our Lieutenant Commander-in-Chief has now pointed out, I guess that means I have to order some. Please do, but I guess for sake, you have to keep me from not getting your Lieutenant Commander-in-Chief coin for 4 years. I guess that's the record we're going with right now. Chuck says someday I'll have one. I'm so happy everybody's just jumping in on here. Miss Linda says, Moose, would you like some cheese with that wine? Oh, I'm glad you all joined in on this. Oh,
You'll
that's
just
great.
kick a moose while he's down, huh?
Yeah, no, that's just made it into the gag reel. That's joyful. I made it to the gag reel like 4 times on this episode.
That's because the gag reel didn't come out on time. People are giving you such a hard time.
I knew that was coming as soon as I said it, too. As soon as the words left my lips, I was like, yep, that's coming. Ouch. Ooh, that stung. Yeah. But also, just joking around with our past commanders-in-chief and our current commander-in-chief and lieutenant commander-in-chief, happy that they were able to attend. We're going to start closing it out now. We're a bit past our scheduled time, but we had Adam on, so we're good. Adam covers
we started 5 minutes late, didn't we?
We did, so we're making it up, really. Now Carl has joined in. He said, I've got past Alabama Division Commander coins available for $50 donation to the museum. They're worth more because they have past on it. I don't know if I have $50 for your challenge coin, Carl, but I would definitely like to buy one just so I can carry around a challenge coin that's got Carl on it. And I really hope on one side of the challenge coin, you just got a picture of Carl doing this. The Alabama State
flag. A can of Spam on the other side.
Can of Spam with an SCV logo.
And
just
the cross spatulas.
That's even better. Cross spatulas. Okay. All right. Well, we've had our fun. Let's
we derailed this train.
Yeah, we always do when me and Adam are on. I don't know why they paired us together, Adam. I guess they wanted to see chaos happen in front of their eyes, but here we are.
Must be fun. They keep coming back.
Yeah. Please remember to share out this episode, people. Let's make sure we're not just preaching to the choir. We had a great crowd tonight, so thankful for you chat heads. Come on. Make sure, again, to share this episode. And, again, with the website coming up, if you missed look around last week, I did announce that SCV Chat is getting their website. So along with sending your stuff in for the news, you will now send it in for your stuff to be on an event calendar on the SCV Chat website if you send me your events. I will be working on that. It's going to take a while, so don't expect the website to come up with your events right now. I might miss a couple events before it gets up. It's taking a lot more of a time, and I'm making sure I have everything polished before I just throw it out there. But that's something we're going to do. I'm working on it right now, some ideas. But make sure you send all your news, camp events, and remember, people, April is coming up, so please send me all your flyers and your days for your events in April. April is Confederate History and Heritage Month, people. It is a big month for us. We need to have this stuff out there. So make sure you send all your short short news and write-ups to scvyouthOutreach@gmail.com, and you'll be featured on the upcoming episode of Look Around the Confederation. Look Around the Confederation will be this Thursday at 7 p.m. Confederate Standard Time, same Confederate channel. Thank you all for tuning in. Again, please make sure to share this episode. And I love this quote to death, and Miss Linda posted in the chat, so I'm going to make sure I give her credit for it. I always love it. If not us, who, if not now, when? It is one of my favorite quotes in the SCV that I've got to hear. And so I couldn't agree more on the way to end this channel, if not in tonight's episode. If not us, who, and if not now. So thank you all for tuning in, and I hope to see you Thursday. And remember, no Fumar in the elevator. Good night, everybody.